You wake up one morning and nothing looks different. Same house, same job, same salary. But something feels off. Coffee costs more. Rent creeps up. Groceries sting just a little harder. No alarm was triggered, no announcement was made, yet somehow you're poorer than you were last year. That's inflation. And the reason it feels like theft is because it works exactly like one. Not violently, not suddenly, but quietly, relentlessly, legally, and almost no one calls it what it feels like. Let's slow this down. Imagine you worked hard, saved money, did everything right. You didn't gamble, you didn't waste, you were responsible. Now imagine someone reaches into your wallet every year, takes a few percent, and says, "This is for the good of the system." You'd call that stealing. But when inflation does it, we call it normal. Here's why this matters right now. Inflation isn't just higher prices, it's a shift in power. And most people only see the symptom, never the mechanism. So let's strip this down to something simple. Money is supposed to be a store of value. You work today, you save for tomorrow. That's the deal. Inflation breaks that deal. If prices rise 5% a year and your salary rises 2%, you didn't stay the same, you lost 3%. No one sent you a bill, no one asked permission, it just happened.
Now, here's the uncomfortable part. Inflation doesn't hit everyone equally. If you own assets, stocks, real estate, businesses, inflation often helps you. Those prices rise with inflation, sometimes faster. But if you live on wages and savings, inflation eats you first. That's not an accident. That's how the system is wired. Let's talk about where inflation actually comes from. Most people think it's greedy companies or supply shortages or gas prices. Sometimes those matter, but they're not the root. The root is money creation, new money entering the system. And here's the key idea most people miss. When new money is created, it doesn't enter everyone's wallet equally. It enters through very specific doors. Banks, governments, large institutions. They get access first. By the time the money reaches you, prices have already adjusted. This is why inflation feels unfair, because it is uneven. Think of it like pouring dye into water. Those closest to the pour get the strongest color. Those farther away get what's left. This effect even has a name, the Cantillon effect. But you don't need to remember the name to feel it. You feel it every time your paycheck buys less. Now let's talk about the part no one likes to say out loud. Inflation reduces debt. If a government owes trillions and inflation rises, that debt becomes easier to repay in weaker money. Inflation is a hidden tax, not voted on, not debated, not itemized, but incredibly effective. Instead of taking money directly, it reduces purchasing power, slow enough that most people adapt instead of revolt. That's why it's used, and that's why it's defended. You'll often hear inflation described as necessary, healthy, good for growth. Sometimes that's partially true, but the truth is more cynical. Our system depends on inflation because it depends on debt.
Debt needs growth. Growth needs spending. Spending needs money creation. And money creation causes inflation. It's not a bug, it's a feature. Here's the irony. You're told to save money to be responsible, but inflation punishes saving. You're told to avoid debt, but inflation rewards borrowers. The system quietly favors those who understand the rules, not those who follow the advice. Now zoom out. Inflation changes behavior. People stop saving. They rush to spend. They speculate. They take risks they wouldn't normally take, not because they're reckless, but because standing still means falling behind. This is how bubbles form. Housing, stocks, assets inflated not by value, but by excess money chasing returns. And when those bubbles burst, the same people who benefited first are usually protected. Bailouts, policy shifts, emergency measures. Meanwhile, the average person is told to tighten their belt. Again. This is why inflation feels personal, because it reaches into everyday life. It decides whether you can afford a home, whether retirement feels possible, whether hard work actually pays off. And here's the quietest part of all. Most people blame themselves. They think they failed. They didn't budget enough, didn't hustle enough, didn't invest early enough. But often, they were playing a game where the rules changed mid-play. Now let's confront the uncomfortable question. If inflation consistently transfers purchasing power, if it benefits some and harms others, if it's controlled by policy decisions, why don't we talk about it like theft? Because calling it theft forces a moral conversation, and the system doesn't want a moral conversation. It wants a technical one. Percentages, targets, models, words that feel neutral even when the outcomes aren't. So where does that leave you? Not angry, not hopeless, but aware. Because inflation isn't just an economic concept, it's a power mechanism. And understanding it doesn't stop it, but it does change how you see the world. So next time prices rise and someone shrugs and says, "That's just inflation," ask yourself something deeper. If money loses value every year, if savings decay by design and debt is quietly rewarded, who is the system really built for? And at what point does normal become unacceptable? That's the question inflation never answers. It just keeps taking.